Hi, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Collaborwocky, conversations about collaboration from Modus Institute. I'm Jim Benson, and with me today are Thushyanthan A, and Mark Kilby from Canada and Florida, respectively. And we are going to talk first, or actually just in this episode, about why might toxic environments be caused by individuals. It's a long title for something that I, in the toxic waste class, just call self-hostility. And so I'll introduce the topic really quickly, and then we can dive right in on the conversation. So the last few days, I've been making these videos for the toxic waste class. And yesterday, obviously, I was filming the ones about toxic self-toxicity. And these are situations where you actively sabotage yourself, either through imposter syndrome or through being overly meek, if you will, or not fitting into the culture in certain ways. And then you set up ways where you think that you're being polite or you're, giving other people space. But what actually happens is you are setting up reasons for them to discount your opinion, because you will discount your own opinions, you will discount your own effort, and then they keep telling you, no, you're great, no, you're great. And then after a while, they're like, we give up. You're right, you're really not that great. Or they say, I would give this to you, but they're just gonna mope about it. Then the other side of that was self-overload, where we willingly take on too much work, either through martyr syndrome or by reacting to our learned helplessness or our imposter syndrome, because we're trying hard either to prove that we're worthy, or we're trying hard to do all of the work because we think that we're the only ones who can do the work, or that other people need a break, or what have you. So that's kind of the lead in. What do you guys think?
Jim, why did you talk about me, man? So.
Why are you always on me?
We're not worthy.
Why are you always on to me, man? No, I mean, it all resonates. And I think the first thing, having not seen the video yet, I'm looking forward to it. But it's certainly some traps that I fall into, because I tend to be very empathetic and I try to listen for others. But that, and you have even poked me a few times to say, Mark, why don't you go first? So I'm jumping in first, since you've often poked me on that one. So I'll just say it resonates, because I'm curious what Thushyanthan is thinking as well.
Yeah, no, thanks, Mark and Jim. These systems, like what resonated for me in what Jim was saying was really about, imposter syndrome and not fitting in. And I think it's made doubly hard, at least in my current organization and the environment, by being fully remote, where none of this stuff is set up. It's not explicit. And what I'm noticing, at least for myself, the sense of overload is coming from just systems that I too have set up. I'd like to think I'm a productive person, or that, I hate to say it, the martyr syndrome, just taking on too much stuff, trying to do my own polishing and try to find the gems of productivity or work or value out of them. And it's funny, when Jim said trying to prove we're worthy of attention, of love, of value or whatnot, all I can think of is Bill and Ted's Bogus Journey, or was it one of the comedy sketches on Saturday Night Live, where it's just joking about we're not worthy of whatever this is. And while it may seem like a comedic situation, it really is not. And it paves the way for what Jim is mentioning in the class about the toxic work and the systems we set up ourselves and we contribute to in creating this environment. Does that answer your question, Jim? Jim and Mark?
That was Wayne and Garth.
Wayne and Garth, thank you.
Yeah,
Garth.
we're not worthy. Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's for me. I mean, it's. I was just having an earlier conversation on this. It's sometimes based, I think, on the agency you're born with. Some families kind of encourage agency, and some not so much. And I think that's part of it. Um, the short form of that, it would be called baggage, and
Mm-hmm.
sometimes you need to drop those bags to get rid of that self toxicity.
Yeah. Yeah. Unfortunately, all your stuff is in those bags.
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
your whole self concept's in those bags. So you
Exactly.
drop the
yep,
bag. Who am I? What am I?
yeah, 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 yeah.
Um,
You tend to get lost for a while until you find it, or somebody
yeah.
finds you. Yeah,
Yeah. It's yeah. You end up in the island of lost baggage. The in the class in the episode on martyr syndrome, my example is me.
yeah,
And you've both seen this, and Mark has also several times said, "No, Jim will not do this." Jim will walk away from this. And so one of the examples I gave was just later this week. Mark and I have a
yeah.
webinar,
Workshop. Yeah,
a collaboratory that we're doing with a group of people. And I was like, okay, I've got to schedule that time and I've got to make all of these templates. And then, Mark can help. And then I went to do something else. And while I was gone, Mark made all the templates. And I went and I was like, yeah.
yeah. As I already observed you struggling with some things, like I got it. Don't worry. So, yeah, but that too can be a trap in that am I overloaded myself by doing that?
Yeah.
By taking that on. So you got to be careful for that. You got to know kind of where your energy is, where your limits are for that time period. So fortunately, mine seemed a little higher than yours on that particular test, so that's why I went for it. Yeah,
Yeah, and like Jim and Mark, just noticing myself and my activities as well. This is like for me that I see that I notice gaps that are missing where I can step in to do some work. And eventually I keep adding to my plates. And I know I have kind of a topic there with no votes. Thanks, Jim. Avoiding looking at my PK. And I think this is related to this too, right? Because I think I've got lots of great ideas. I think I can step in, but my stepping in or my offering to step in comes at a cost
yeah,
because I am pretty vocal about certain things, and maybe I charge in like a bull in a china shop. And what is my cost that I cannot see? Are there team members that would have spoken up maybe a half second later, that maybe would have sought some sort of help or assistance that I'm not seeing, or something else? And it makes me question how I can actually put a step forward in dignity and respect, not just for myself, but for the rest of the team. And, I'm finding myself attempting to be more and more cognizant. Unfortunately, again, what I'm noticing is time pressures, business considerations, governmental considerations, my own personal standards, and also like whatever happens in my life in my office, this very fine balance that I'm trying to work with. And again, it goes back to, I think, the foundational learnings of Modus Institute about visualizing the work, seeing
Mm-hmm.
where it is, understanding that, I am a human too, and consciously stepping back and making a decision to be respectful in whatever capacity that may mean. Mostly probably just by shutting up. So nice segue to you guys.
So I'll just close this off. The in the toxic waste class, one of the things that I talk about as ways to mitigate these things. And we have to recognize that everyone in the office is going through them.
Mm-hmm.
Like every single person in the office is going through them. So we've got this mix of this milieu of people who are trying to either over or underachieve, and we don't have a system to be a governor to bring up the people who are underachieving and to bring back the people who are overachieving. And go away. And that without a visual system, you can't have that regulator,
Yeah.
and that is always going to create these issues.